For a brief second, I want you to close your eyes and imagine something. A world where you can beam entertainment directly out of the airwaves and into your home. A world where you don't even need to sit up from your couch it's pretty obvious by now that I'm talking about the world we live in today. But I mean, really take a brief second to appreciate that. Like, for the first time in history, we have entertainment almost instantaneously accessible to us. Not so long ago, in the distant year of 1970, there was no affordable way to watch a movie at home until the invention of the first video cassettes in 1971. For reference, 1970 is often referenced as the end of the hippie movement, which is not exactly ancient history. And that's right, it's around the same time that the hippie movement ended that the first commonplace home video hardware was even invented. And I mean, from there on, it was just a meteoric rise from VHS to DVDs, and then eventually into the world of streaming as we know it today.
If you have trouble programming your VCR, may we suggest a Panasonic?
But by now you gotta be thinking, where are you going with this? Or I mean, maybe you're not thinking that, but it doesn't matter. The point that I'm trying to make is that video technology is one of the fastest progressing mediums of art ever to exist. It's only been about 50 years since the invention of the first video cassette in 1971, and look where we are now. I mean, video streaming as it exists now would be like science fiction to someone in the 1970s. The idea that you can stream content on demand from, anywhere in the world provided that you have internet access, it's really incredible and especially useful during a time such as the one we live in now. But any advancement, no matter how wonderful, will of course come with its own unique set of problems. I'm sure many people in my age group remember when Netflix began its meteoric rise to popularity. With its initial mail-in model video service, it was successful in and of itself. However, it was the introduction of streaming on demand in 2007 that really solidified it as a household name. And its only real competitions at the time were Blockbuster and, well, Hulu. Oh, I can't wait to watch my favorite show on Hulu!
Shop Black Friday week deals Sunday through Friday at Kohl's. Plus, get...
Oh, thank gosh that ad is over. I sure can't wait to watch my show for real now.
Our human. I mean, being a robot's great.
Big Tech loves spinning phones, dripping.
But again, they're so different it's hard to compare. Although video streaming was becoming more and more common with things like YouTube, Netflix's movie-centric format and good selection of titles made it quickly rise as a dominant force in the market of streaming. Remember how I mentioned earlier that its main competitors in 2008 were Hulu and Blockbuster? Well, everybody knows by now that Blockbuster really fell off the wagon, but Hulu is still going strong to this day. But why is that? The simple answer is subscription service payments. I mean, people don't need to go to Blockbuster if they can just sit at home and watch movies there, so Blockbuster won't make any money in this instance. But say there's a show you want to watch on Hulu that can only be accessed with a paid subscription. There's nothing stopping a customer from simply paying for both services at once, Netflix and Hulu. But obviously, not everybody wants to pay for two at once, but there isn't the same mutual exclusivity that there is with in-person film mediums. For a time, the streaming services lived in harmony, and it was good. That was until other companies figured out that they could also make money off of streaming. In 2019, Disney launched its streaming service, Disney+, complete with a whole catalog of Disney movies and shows, and owning the exclusive rights meant that Disney Plus would become the only place to watch them. Remember how recently The Office got taken off Netflix? That's because NBC, the property owners, stuck it on their own streaming service, Peacock, just this year. This competition that big companies are having over streaming rights is what's been affectionately named the streaming wars, and it hasn't been great for consumers. Oh gee, I sure can't wait to watch the next season of my favorite show. Wait a second, it's not on Netflix anymore? It was on there literally like a minute ago. Well, I'm subscribed to Disney+, Hulu, and HBO Go. It's gotta be on one of those. It's not on any of these either. Wait a minute, it's on...
Arbitrary streaming service name.
You gotta be kidding me. Well, take my money, I guess. Yep, nothing wrong here. I'm sure this multi-million-dollar corporation needs more money. Okay, so it's clear by now that the streaming wars are a problem for consumers. So, what are we supposed to do about it? A frequent problem that's come out of the streaming wars is the difficult navigation of so many different streaming platforms. As one writer for Rolling Stones points out, the user interfaces consistently seem designed to make finding what you want to see, whether continuing a binge or discovering something new, a Herculean effort. If the main problem we're dealing with is difficulty figuring out which major streaming service the property you want is on, a solution already exists, albeit in its early stages. This solution involves the streamlined creation of a program that could easily direct the viewer towards the platform that they want. This already exists. If you search where to watch blank, whatever show, into Google, but a more streamlined, perhaps direct version of this program, maybe even built directly into, say, the programming of a TV, would definitely come in handy. This can make the process of navigating all the different platforms much easier. It could also effectively solve the convenience issues faced by consumers. Though this is not ideal from an economic or business standpoint, it's not an impossible scenario. One writer puts it best. Over the years, a lot of companies have tried to implement Netflix's business model, but few have been successful in garnering the same attention and buzz. Disney Plus is one of these platforms, but despite the Mouse House's show of force in the early months, the service now lacks new content to keep up with Netflix's massive library, which contains thousands and thousands of hours of entertainment. Even a Goliath of the entertainment industry has been struggling to keep up with the massive role Netflix holds. Take the market of PC video game platforms, for example. Although many gaming platforms exist, the program known as Steam has been the most commonly used for years, and despite more competition cropping up in recent years, the platform still holds very high precedence. If consumers were to get tired of paying for so many subscriptions, this could lead to the extraneous companies to gradually go out of business, until all that remains are, say, Netflix and a few others. Although having a select number of companies completely in control of a market is not ideal, it would effectively solve the problem that consumers face because of the streaming wars. Okay, hear me out on this one before you jump to any conclusions. Although having to pay for and navigate so many different streaming services is inconvenient for consumers, the competition brought about by the streaming wars is ultimately beneficial in the long run. As the CEO of Netflix points out in an interview with CNBC, everybody gets that people will subscribe to multiple platforms. I'd wager that Netflix employees are HBO subscribers. We love the content that they do, and that spurs us on to want to be even better. Competition means that each company is always looking to improve, whether that means putting out high-quality, original content or purchasing the rights to quality titles. The awkward phase we find ourselves in now will eventually work itself out. Whether this means the aforementioned return to Netflix as the dominant streaming service, or perhaps a healthy market with many competitors, ultimately viewers will get what demand dictates. Perhaps just sitting back and letting capitalism do its job is the right thing to do here. Admittedly, the streaming wars have been a difficult topic to tackle. Given that they are ongoing and in a market as volatile as entertainment, the situation continues to evolve. If I had created this video essay a mere few months ago, or wait, how long has it been? Oh, almost 9 months? You gotta be kidding me! If I had made this video essay before the pandemic, there would have been a vastly different image of the streaming war status. All this to say, at any point a happenstance could throw things off dramatically and we'd have no way of predicting it. But if there's anything that viewers can take solace in, it's the one commonality that I found throughout all of my research. The majority of analysts believe that the competition of the streaming wars is ultimately good for content. So maybe the next time you feel ready to complain about having to subscribe to a whole new platform just to watch the show you like, remember, this is all a part of something better. Also, type where to watch blank into Google when you want to find something. I swear it's actually so useful.